Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the base of a towering mountain, there lived a young man named Liam. The mountain, known as the Peak of Giants, was legendary. No one in the village had ever successfully climbed to its summit, and many believed it was impossible. Stories were passed down of those who tried, only to return defeated by its harsh winds, jagged cliffs, and unrelenting cold. Liam, however, was different. Ever since he was a child, he had gazed at the mountain with a sense of wonder and determination. While others saw an insurmountable obstacle, he saw a challenge waiting to be conquered. One day, he told himself, I will stand at the top. Years passed and Liam trained tirelessly. He honed his climbing skills, learned to navigate the treacherous terrain, and prepared for every possible danger the mountain might throw his way. His friends and family warned him not to attempt it, reminding him of those who had failed before. But Liam's resolve was unshakable. One cold morning, with a pack full of supplies and a heart full of hope, Liam began his ascent. The climb was steeper than he had anticipated, and the higher he went, the colder and more dangerous it became. Ice coated the rocks and the wind howled like a beast trying to push him back. After days of climbing, Liam faced his first major setback. A thick fog rolled in, and he could barely see a foot in front of him. His progress slowed to a crawl, and exhaustion weighed heavy on his body. As he sat on a narrow ledge, doubt began to creep into his mind. Maybe they were right, he thought. Maybe this mountain really is impossible to conquer. But then, he remembered why he had started the journey in the first place. He hadn't come this far to give up now. Taking a deep breath, he told himself, one more step. Just one more step. And so, he continued. Step by step, inch by inch, he fought his way through the fog and the biting cold. Every time he felt like quitting, he would repeat those words in his mind. One more step. It became his mantra, his lifeline. Days turned into weeks, and Liam's body was battered and bruised, but his spirit remained unbroken. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the fog began to lift, and the peak came into view. It was still far, but it was no longer a distant dream. It was real and it was within reach. With renewed energy, Liam pushed forward. The final stretch was the hardest. The air was thin, and every breath felt like fire in his lungs. But he kept going, driven by sheer willpower and the knowledge that he was so close. At last, after what seemed like an endless battle, Liam reached the summit. He stood at the top of the world, gazing out at the horizon as the sun began to rise. The view was more beautiful than anything he had ever imagined. But more than the view, it was the feeling of triumph that filled his heart. He had done it. He had conquered the Peak of Giants. As he stood there, a single thought echoed in his mind. I didn't give up. Liam returned to the village a hero, but for him the true victory wasn't the climb itself. It was the lesson he had learned along the way. No matter how insurmountable the challenge, no matter how many times life tries to push you down, the key to success is simple. Never give up. Just take one more step. And so Liam's story became a legend in the village, not because he climbed the impossible mountain, but because he showed that with determination, nothing is truly impossible.